Cairo when he talked about a new beginning between the United States and the Muslim world. But I think that what we have seen pan out is a Muslim Brotherhood government in control in Egypt that, you know, we misread the Arab Spring, and of course the Muslim Brotherhood said they would not run someone for president, and they did. We see a Hamas that is even stronger, as well as a Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad. We see an incredibly unstable situation in Syria. And in August of 2011, when I was over there on a congressional visit and we sat down with Prime Minister Netanyahu, one of the things that he asked was to not zero out our troop presence in Iraq because he was concerned about Iran extending this regional hegemonic dominance, which we have seen occur, and that's why you have Iranian Revolutionary Guard in Syria. Iran is a theocracy. They're not people that you can reason with or understand, and their march toward having that nuclear device is so that they can have a dominance.
But now it's gotten worse, Leslie, after his suck-up to the Muslim world apology tour. And let me give you an example. The Muslim Brotherhood. You know, King Abdullah, Jordan, is saying it is naive that the Muslim Brotherhood are wolves in sheep's clothing. His words, by the way, risky for him to make that, warning Obama, this president is giving $1.5 billion and F-16 jets and tanks to a guy that views the Israelis as the descendants of apes and pigs. Do you think that's a good foreign policy, Leslie Marshall?
I don't think it's also a good foreign policy to pretty much be owning Israel, but not to be having any say as to how we establish borders and whether we have further settlements in the West Bank, in Israel.
Leslie, stop with the spin. I don't want to hear it. I asked you a question.
I'm not giving you the spin. I'm not giving you the spin.
Answer. Is it a good policy?
You're not giving the check to that person.
Is it a good policy?
Who cannot get medical supplies and food. Do you want the people to get medical supplies and food from Hamas or from the United States?
You got to answer my question. Is it a good policy to give $1.5 billion taxpayer dollars to give F-16 jets, to give tanks to the Muslim Brotherhood, to the president that views the Israelis as descendants of apes and pigs?
I don't think that we can look at what one person's prejudicial opinion of the masses are and discount them politically. When we want people to be free, Sean, and we want them to freely elect, we're not happy when we look at the Muslim
Brotherhood and the weapons to attack Israel.
Freedom in Egypt. We're not happy with the Palestinians' decision to elect Hamas, but we want those people to have freedom. So we need to decide: do we want people to have freedom to vote, or do we want to control who they vote for?
Colonel West, why would we give terrorists money?
Well, I don't think we should be giving terrorists money. I think that that is going back to a Neville Chamberlain type of foreign policy of appeasement. And look, recently when Secretary of State Kerry went to Egypt, it was the National Salvation Front and other opposition groups that wanted to meet with him, and he refused to do so. And when it was amazing, it was not covered, that you actually had people protesting the United States of America in Egypt for supporting terrorists. And just the same you see happening right now in the West Bank that Leslie referred to. They are defacing pictures of President Obama. They're throwing shoes at it. They're burning flags of America because they believe that the promises that, quote unquote, seem to be insinuated during that speech at Cairo have been turned back against. And understand something else. When you talk about a two-state solution, you have to have a willing peace partner on the other side. And not just that, there really is not a two-state solution. You're talking about potentially a three-state solution because Hamas in the Gaza Strip is totally different than Fatah in the West Bank.
I agree. You know, Leslie, let me ask you a question. Why should the Israelis, why should they trust Barack Obama, who snubbed, I mean, just beyond the pale snubbed Bibi Netanyahu in the White House, that claimed that they should go back to 67 borders? We promised Israel we would never ask them to do that. Obama did it. And then on top of that, Sarkozy says Bibi's a liar. And, oh, I got to deal with them every week. Why would Bibi Netanyahu ever trust this man? Why would the Israelis ever trust him? Because I wouldn't if I were them.
Sean, it's not about trust. It's about business. And A, if you want to keep the checks flowing, and B, you want diplomacy. C, you're an ally. D, Sarkozy was voted out of France last time I checked and is no longer president. And lastly, these two leaders may not like each other, but they agree that Iran will not have a nuclear bomb for at least another year.
The Egyptians, if they want the checks flowing and the F-16s flowing, why doesn't
the Egyptians don't want the money.
They agree to the Camp David Accords and apologize for saying the Israelis are descendants of apes and pigs? That would be a good start, right?
The Egyptians say they don't want the money, and by the way, the American people
They've
want
taken
less
every
funding
dime
abroad.
from American taxpayers. By the way, we can't afford to keep the White
the
House
people don't
open,
want that.
but we're funding the terrorist, the former head of the Muslim Brotherhood. Beam
Most
me
of
up,
the people in the White House
Scotty.
are volunteers.
There's no intelligent life in the Obama White House. Period. End of sentence.
Right.
There isn't. That is stupid. To give them money is idiotic. All right, gotta go. Good to see you. And
Good to
also
see you.
coming up tonight.
It's just not.